Welcome to Digimon.
Hello and welcome to Digimon and welcome to another deck profile. If you're liking this source of content, please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel and ding that notification bell so you're not missing out on any of the latest content. Now obviously we had the ban list come out yesterday for you guys, today for me, and very exciting stuff. A lot of things that had deserved hits, some which kind of felt a little bit mid. The Stingmon one, for example, I'm still kind of getting to grips with it. I get it's a draw engine, but surely you'd get rid of the ones that give you 2 memory, whatever. But anyways, one of the decks that was hit was FenrirLoogamon, which had its BT17 card put down to 1. So the bog standard FenrirLoogamon, not the Takamikazuchi and not the Bowmon, the FenrirLoogamon, which actually, to be fair, although in our ban list prediction video we didn't talk about the BT17 one, it makes sense because it is the combo facilitator. So it doesn't kill the deck, it just stalls it a bit and kind of forces you into less of an OTK kind of strategy. Which, do you know what, isn't really bad in the grand scheme of things. It just makes the deck a little bit more fun, in the words of the person who built this, which was Beardy Dan. So Beardy Dan came to my rescue. He is an absolute lad because he tested, he saw the ban list was coming and was just like, okay, do you know what I'm going to do? I am going to test 3 different versions of FenrirLoogamon, one with only 1 Bowmon, one with only 1 Takamikazuchi, and one with only 1 FenrirLoogamon. Absolute mad lad, like, to have that sort of predictive capability. So he sent me this list today, and figured we'd talk about it straight off the ban list. There's probably some FenrirLoogamon players that might want some tips on how to build, so ergo, here we go. Starting with the eggs, of course, survived the ban list. Bowmon from BT14. It's still incredibly good egg, busted. When a Digimon card with the Dark Animal or SOC trait is trashed from your hand, this Digimon may Digivolve into that card. Just helps you kind of go on to your full kind of Digivolution lines, and you could just cheese that effect multiple times in one turn. It's really good. It's why it was a ban list contender, but ultimately the little pupper did survive. Then going into the level 3s, we've got the Loogamon from BT14. Got actually quite a low rookie count by the looks of it, only 8, which is interesting. Start of your main by placing 1 AG from your hand or trash as this Digimon's bottom Digivolution card. You gain a memory, so essentially forces a mind link from hand or trash, which is gross. Then your turn, when you play a card with the Dark Animal trait or SOC trait, gain 1 memory. That's the inheritable. So anytime you're playing a Dark Animal or SOC card, you gain a memory, which is pretty nice. And then we've got the Loogamon from BT20, which of course is the Seekers Loogamon. We have access to the Seekers cards now, which is obviously where Dan has kind of filled in gaps, in the deck. On play, you reveal the top 3 cards of your deck and add 1 card with the SOC or Seekers trait and 1 AG among them to the hand, and return the rest to the bottom of the deck. And then the inheritable, it's just a nice and simple, Digimon gets 2000 DP, which for a deck that wants to swing a lot, that's pretty good, so not bad at all. Then going into the level 4s, and we've got quite a few level 4s here. We have 2 copies of the Tyrannomon from BT15, has blocker and on play, reveals the top 4 cards of your deck, add 1 Digimon card with the SOC trait and 1 such Tamer card among them to the hand, return the rest to the bottom of the deck. If you added cards, you trash 1 card in your hand. So that's kind of why we can get away with less rookies, because we've got a search on the Tyrannomon as well. But it gives us a blocker, it gives us a little defensive option to kind of stall things out, and also lets us put stuff into the trash as well, which is not bad. Then we've got the Darugamon from BT16, has collision. On play, when Digivolving, you trash 1 card in your hand and draw 1. And then if a Tamer card with the SOC trait is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards until the end of your opponent's turn, 1 of their Digimon gains start of main phase, this Digimon attacks. And then all turns effect, this Digimon gets 1000 DP. So that inheritable is really nice. Forcing them to attack is quite interesting, because of the fact that we now have access to an Ace. So that is pretty damn cool. So yeah, not a bad card in the slightest. Next card to talk about is the Loogamon from BT15. So when Digivolving, when attacking by trashing 1 card in your hand, this Digimon gains 2000 DP for the turn. And if a Tamer card with the SOG trait is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, draw 1. So it helps you with that consistency as well as your general aggression. So when Digivolving, when attacking, not once per turn, so you can technically do it twice in 1 turn, which is pretty nice. And then end of attack, if your opponent has 1 or more memory, gain 1 memory, so you can kind of loop turn back to yourself if you haven't changed that in other ways. Then we've also got the Seeker's Lugamon. So that's almost the end of our level 4. Sorry, the Seeker's Lugamon on play by trashing one card in on play when digivolving. Sorry, by trashing one card in your hand, you may return one card of the SOC or Seeker's trait from your trash to the hand, and then nice simple inheritable again of plus 2,000 DP. So again, just helps you getting stuff back from your trash, which is not bad at all. Then going into the level 5s, which Dan's only playing 6 level 5s, which is interesting. I guess with the amount of recursion we've got, that's, you know, you could get away with that, I guess. But when digivolving with this Lugamon, this is the BT16 one, by trashing 2 cards in your hand, delete one of your opponent's 6,000 DP or lower Digimon. If this effect didn't delete, you may play one level 4 or lower SOC trait Digimon card from your trash without paying the cost. Then there's an alterns effect of when one of your SOC trait Digimon is deleted, this Digimon with the SOC trait Tamer card in its Digivolution cards may digivolve into FenrirLoogamon in the trash without paying the cost. So yeah, not bad at all. Obviously, you know, helps with that kind of going wide mentality, helps with kind of grabbing stuff out. You know, it's pretty good. And then end of attack, if your opponent has 1 or more memory, unsuspend this Digimon. So obviously that is really good for your general OTK kind of stuff that you can do, which obviously you can't get away with as much as before, but you can still potentially pull off. Then we've got the other level 5 in this deck, which is 3 copies of the Lugamon from BT20. On play when digivolving by trashing 1 card in your hand for the turn, one of your Digimon gains Raid and gets 3,000 DP, which is pretty nice. Obviously we don't really have Piercing, I don't think, but that's still pretty cool. Then when Tamer cards are placed in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 6,000 DP or less, so a nice little bit of removal. And then as the inheritable, this Digimon with the SOC or Seeker's trait doesn't activate security effects on option cards it checks. So it gets the red, purple, Imperial treatment, it gets the delicate plan treatment, just means you can go straight into security without having to worry, which, to be fair, if this deck had stayed without banlist stuff, I imagine it would have been incredibly scary, but with a little less consistency, because of the limitation of FenrirLoogamon, you know, that effect won't be as effective, but still pretty spooky. Then going into the Kuzuhamons, so we've got 5 Kuzuhamons here, which is pretty cool. We've got 2 of the BT17 and 3 of the new one. We'll go to the BT17 first. This kind of really doesn't do anything in the deck. It's just here to be, you know, played out from the trash or hard played, and then just kind of goes from there. I mean, can it evolve on anything? No, it can't, can it? Because the only digivolves on level 5 Pulse 1 in text. It's digivolves on green and yellow, so this can't digivolve on anything. It's just in here as a what you would call in Yu-Gi-Oh! A garnet, if you know that phrase. Basically, a card you want to have in a certain place, and if it's not in that certain place and is somewhere else, it can be a bit of a problem. So funnily enough, in Yu-Gi-Oh, if it was stuck in the deck, that's where you wanted it. Whereas in Digimon, if it's stuck in the deck, it's where you don't want it. So you know, hence why he's playing it at 2 to try and make that a bit more consistent. But the one that is a bit more useful is the Kuzuhamon from BT20. So this guy has Fortitude, which is cool. He can actually digivolve on top of purples and on top of the Seeker's trait stuff. So he'll cost 4 on top of the BT16 Lugamon and 3 on top of the BT21. Has that Fortitude, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon as the when digivolving effect, or Tamers. Then one of their Digimon or Tamers can't unsuspend until the end of their turn. Then, alterns effect, when Tamer cards are placed in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, activate one of this Digimon's when digivolving effects, then one of your Digimon may attack your opponent's Digimon. So that's pretty cool. I mean, with the raid and stuff like that, it is a shame we don't have piercing. Obviously, any piercing stuff is kind of, you know, even Pulse 1 doesn't really have piercing. It's got more like, you know, you can trash a Digimon you delete in battle. But, yeah, it's a great card. The fact that it has that all turns if you put something underneath the Kuzuhamon, you know, that's pretty good. But the main thing that this is still in here for, because although you can potentially do that when digivolving an all turns effect, you're probably still not doing it that much. But the all turns effect of when your security stack is removed from, if this Digimon has FenriLoogamon in its name, recovery +1. So that really helps you with your Takamikazuchi. Then going into the FenrirLoogamons, we'll of course go first off into the newly restricted BT17 FenrirLoogamon. Now, why was this card restricted? It's because of the fact that in this deck, it has 2 really powerful things going for it. The first one is that it can just play out a level 6. for no cost, so long as you've got the target in trash, and so long as you have, you know, the AG underneath you, you know, which is pretty achievable in this deck. And then the other thing is not the all turns effect. We'll go over that briefly though. Essentially, you can, if something is played out that has SOC or Pulse One in text, then it's a Digimon or a Tamer for this, by the way. You could delete something with 10,000 DP or less, which is pretty cool. You know, it is pretty cool, but you know, not as cool as the inherited effect, which is while this Digimon has FenrirLoogamon in its name, the turn end condition is the opponent having 3 or more memory. So it means that basically, if you've got 2 memory, does not pass turn. So that's why it's kind of busted. It has ways of essentially playing the game in ways that no other deck can. And that's why it's so freaking good, and why ultimately Bandai decided to put it to 1. Will it be enough to fully stop the deck? We'll find out. We'll see. But I think in general it will be. It just stops that kind of combo off and forces you to go into a bit more of a swarming kind of strategy rather than just waiting for the OTK. Then we've got the new FenrirLoogamon from BT20. This dude has Scapegoat, which is really nice for that protection. Dan, I remember, highlighted that in particular to me. When Digivolving, you may play 1 level 4 or lower SOC or Seeker's trait Digimon from your trash without paying the cost. See, that's a fairly balanced playing effect, isn't it? It's a level 6 that can play out a level 4, you know, and yeah, it does it without any sort of restrictions, you know, but that's fair. Playing out a level 6 even with restrictions is you know, off. Then the all turns effect: when Tamer cards are placed in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, activate one of this Digimon's when Digivolving effects. Then one of your Digimon may attack a player. So essentially, you can play out your stuff. You know, as long as you can attack in with it. You know, it's really cool. Then the inheritable is when any of your opponent's Digimon are deleted. If this Digimon has FenrirLoogamon in its name, trash your opponent's top security. So can you imagine that inheritable underneath the old Takamikazuchi? Well, we're about to. Here's the old Takamikazuchi, the BT17 secret rare. So this guy is so good because of the fact that once he's in trash, you can kind of just do whatever you need to do. And the thing is, I think what a lot of people thought about with this guy also potentially being a banlist contender is the moment he's in trash, that combo is live. So obviously the more copies of it are going to be a problem. But here's the thing, which is going to kind of be interesting going forward, is the Takamikazuchi, that trashing effect doesn't say when one of your level 6 Digimon with possible in its text is played, 2 of your Digimon may DNA Digivolve into this card. It doesn't say played by an effect, it just says played, which is something I discovered back when I was playing this in Pulsemon, because you could just play out, you know, anything with Pulsemon in its text, and funnily enough, this has Pulsemon in its text, and this has Pulsemon in its text, and this has Pulsemon in its text, you know, so you could just play out any of these and get that combo. So you don't even need to necessarily use this effect. Yeah, this effect it gives you a draw because it's a when Digivolving effect, but technically speaking, you could still just play any of these to make that trashing effect go, that trash DNA Digivolution effect go off. So it'll be interesting to see if it really will be enough to stop the deck with this, you know, at 1, and whether or not the Takamikazuchi might still need a hit. Got to be very interested to see and find out how that goes. But the rest of what the Takamikazuchi does is, when it digivolves, you kind of minus 16,000 one of your opponent's Digimon for the turn, which is pretty much just going to wipe anything off the face of the planet. And then if they are digivolving, you may set the memory to 3 on your opponent's side. And then if you've got a Tamer in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, you gain 1 memory and recovery plus 1, which then that's where this turn end condition shenanigans comes in. All of a sudden, the turn doesn't end because you're on 2 memory and you've recovered, which then means you also get to do your when attacking by trashing the top card of your security stack, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. So that essentially means as long as you've got stuff you can trash from yours, you can just OTK. You know, as long as you've got that, as long as you've got your unsuspends, you know, it's all systems go. And even if you had this one underneath it, you know, which ideally you're not going to, but then you're double trashing, which is kind of spooky. So essentially you can swing, trash, trash again, check, unsuspend, swing, trash, unsuspend. Sorry if you heard my Discord just go off then. Next is Takamikazuchi Ace. from BT20. So obviously this gives us some counterplay. So if we're using the Dorugamon, for example, with that on play, where you're playing it out with the FenrirLoogamon, you're forcing them to attack, then you just blast into your Takamikazuchi Ace. And what that is going to do is it has an on-play when Digivolving. 2 of your opponent's Digimon get minus 10,000 DP for the turn. And if a Tamer is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, delete one of your opponent's 10,000 DP or lower Digimon. So interestingly enough, it's not a DNA Digivolution effect. It's not like do this and then if you're DNA Digivolving, also do this. It is literally do this, and then if you've got a Tamer underneath you. So, you know, that means hard Digivolving into this isn't too much of a blow either, to be fair. Which, to be fair, I kind of get, because the whole thing with Takamikazuchi is it's like 95% FenrirLoogamon, 5% Kuzuhamon. So it makes sense that it not DNA Digivolving is, you know, something it needs to do. Also, the other thing that I find interesting with it is obviously this specifically says Kuzuhamon, whereas this says yellow level 6 with Pulsemon in its text, which actually technically means if you were to play this in kind of Pulsemon or technically this, then you could use Shroudmon instead. You could use Kuzuhamon and Shroudmon. I don't know why you would use the Shroudmon because you don't have the inheritable, but that's still pretty cool to say. Then it's got a when attacking effect, which is by trashing your top security, activate one of this Digimon's when Digivolving effect. So basically just means you can blitz things off the planet again as much as you like. It's really cool. Then going into the Tamers, we've got quite a few Tamers here. We've got 10 Tamers, making sure we've got as many ages as possible. We've got the OG AG, gives you the memory at the start of the turn, has the mind link, so it can go underneath the Digimon, has the all turns, alliance and blocker, and then you can play it out. Then that inheritable is shared by the Code Cracker Fang from BT17. You know, you put the alliance and blocker under it. The only difference between this card and that and the BT14 one is this one's a memory saver, whereas the other one just gains your memory for a Digimon. Then we have the new one, which is Code Cracker Fang and Hacker Judge, which I freaking love this card. It's really, really cool. And this is where we're getting our piercing. I completely forgot this card gives piercing. Despite the fact I just said I love this card. It's been a very long weekend. Anyways, start main. If your opponent has a Digimon, gain 1 memory, so same as the BT14 AG. This one, though, doesn't have just Mind Link. It has when any of your Digimon are played or Digivolve, you may Mind Link with one of your Digimon with Pulsemon in its text or the SOC or Seeker's trait. But that's quite easy to do because we've got multiple effects where we're playing Digimon out. So we then just go, boink, put this underneath. And for our troubles, this gives Alliance, Piercing, and Barrier. So we actually have a level of protection, 2 things for your attacks. Like, the Alliance alone is worth it, and then you've got the rest of it as well. Just nuts. The Piercing with the Raid from the FenrirLoogamon from BT20, just really, really cool. Great Tamer, absolutely fantastic. And then our last card in the deck is our only option, which is 2 copies of everyone's favourite Bring Me the Horizon album, The Demon Wolf of the Castle of 9 Wolves. I don't know what's wrong with me. Then reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 card with the SOC trait among them to the hand, return the rest to the bottom of the deck. If this effect is added to the hand, trash 1 card in your hand, then place this card in the battle area. Then main delay, you may play 1 card with the SOC trait from your trash with the play cost reduced by 2. Has a security effect as well, where it basically just gets to do the search again. So obviously this is great for your general consistency. It's essentially you know, reducing your costs, getting you more consistency. Just a great card. But no, Dan has definitely cooked with this one. The fact that he cooked pre-ban list to account for post-ban list times is insane. So absolute hats to Dan. Please show your love to him for doing this in the comments below. You know, and let us know what other sort of deck profiles we want to see. I'm trying to see if I could slow down on deck profiles a bit, just because we've done so many recently, and I want to start trying to get gameplay and stuff back on the channel. So expect to see some content like that real soon, as well as possibly some more kind of bait or busted type content, because I really like doing that bait or busted video last week. So definitely keep an eye out for basically anything on the channel. And obviously to do that, the best thing to do is to like, subscribe, and ding that notification bell. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed that, guys. Let me know what you guys thought of the ban list as well. Did you think it was the way to go? Do you think FenriLoogamon is still going to be one of the best decks in the format with the changes? Who knows? We'll find out, I guess. But let me know what you guys think, and until next time, keep it digital.